Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, 17th verse. Na yatra kalo nimisham parha Prabhu kuto no deva jagata ya ishire na yatra sattvam na rajas tamascha na vai vikaro na mahan pradhanam na yatra kalo nimisham para Prabhu kuto nu deva jagatam ya ishire na yatra sattvam na rajastamascha na vai vikaro na mahan pradhanam na yatra kalo nimisham para Prabhu kuto nu deva jagatam ya ishire na yatra sattvatam na rajastamascha na vai vikaro na mahan pradhanam na yatra kalo nimisham para Prabhu kuto nu deva jagatam ya ishire na yatra sattvam na rajastamascha na vai vikaro na mahan pradhanam na yatra kalo nimisham para Prabhu kuto nu deva jagatam ya ishire na yatra sattvam na rajastamascha na vai vikaro na mahan pradhanam na yatra kalo nimisham para Prabhu kuto nu deva jagatam ishire na yatra sattvam na rajastamascha na vai vikaro na mahan pradhanam na yatra kalo nimisham para Prabhu kuto nu deva jagatam ya ishire na yatra sattvam na rajastamascha na vai vikaro na mahan pradhanam na yatra kalo nimisham para Prabhu kuto nu deva jagatam ya ishire na yatra sattvam na rajastamascha na vai vikaro na mahan pradhanam na yatra kalo nimisham para Prabhu. Kuto nu deva jagatamya ishire na yatra sattvam na rajastamascha na vai vikaro na mahan pradhanam. Mataji's. Na yatra kalo nimisham para Prabhu. Kuto nu deva jagatamya ishire na vai tamascha na vai vikaro na mahan pradhanam. Na yatra kalo nimisham para Prabhu. Kuto nu deva jagatamya ishire na yatra sattvam na rajastamascha na vai vikaro na mahan pradhanam. Na, not, yatra, wherein, kalaha, destructive time, animisham, of the heavenly demigods, para, superior, Prabhu, controller, kutaha, where is there, nu, certainly, deva, the demigods, jagatam, the mundane creatures, ye, those, ishire, rules, na, not, yatra, therein, sattvam, mundane goodness, na, nor, rajaha, mundane passion, tamaha, mundane ignorance, cha, also, na, nor, vai, certainly, vikara, transformation, na, nor, mahan, the material causal ocean, pradhanam, material nature. Translation and purport by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. In that transcendental state of labdhopashanti, there is no supremacy of devastating time, which controls even the celestial demigods who are empowered to rule over mundane creatures. And what to speak of the demigods themselves? Nor is there the mode of material goodness, nor passion, nor ignorance, nor even the false ego, nor the material causal ocean, nor the material nature. Purport. Devastating time, which controls even the celestial demigods by its manifestation of past, present, and future, does not act on the transcendental plane. The influence of time is exhibited by the symptoms of birth, death, old age, and disease. And these four principles of material conditions are present everywhere in any part of the material cosmos, up to the planet Brahmaloka, where the duration of life of the inhabitants appears for us to be fabulous. Insurmountable time even brings about the death of Brahma. So what to speak of the other demigods like Indra, Chandra, Surya, Vayu, and Varuna. The astronomical influence directed by the different demigods over mundane creatures is also conspicuous by its absence. In material existence, the living entities are afraid of satanic influence, but for a devotee on the transcendental plane, there is no such fear at all. The living entities change their material bodies in different shapes and forms under the influence of the different modes of material nature. But in the transcendental state, the devotee is gunatita or above the material modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Thus, the false ego of I am the Lord of all I survey does not arise there. In the material world, the false ego of the living being trying to lord it over the material nature is something like the moths falling in a blazing fire. The moth is captivated by the glaring beauty of the fire, and when he comes to enjoy it, the blazing fire consumes him. In the transcendental state, the living being is pure in his consciousness, and as such, he has no false ego to lord it over the material nature. Rather, his pure consciousness directs him to surrender unto the Supreme Lord, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.19. Vasudeva Sarvam Iti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. All this indicates that in the transcendental state there is neither material creation nor the causal ocean for material nature. The above mentioned state of affairs is factual on the transcendental plane, but is factually revealed in a transcendentalist knowledge of the advanced state of pure consciousness. Such transcendentalists are of two types, namely the impersonalists and the devotees. For the impersonalist, the ultimate goal or destination is the Brahma Jyoti of the spiritual sky. But for the devotees, the ultimate goal is the Vaikuntha planets. The devotees experience the above mentioned state of affairs by attainment of spiritual forms for activity in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. But the impersonalist, because of his neglecting the association of the Lord, does not develop a spiritual body for spiritual activity, but remains a spiritual spark only, merged in the effulgent spiritual rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is the full-fledged form of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. But the formless Brahma Jyoti is simply eternity and knowledge. The Vaikuntha planets are also forms of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. And therefore, the devotees of the Lord who are admitted into the abode of the Lord also get bodies of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. As such, there is no difference between one and another. The Lord's abode, name, fame, entourage, etc. are of the same transcendental quality. And how this transcendental quality differs from the material world is explained here within this verse. In the Bhagavad Gita, three principal subjects have been explained by Lord Sri Krishna, namely Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. But one can reach the Vaikuntha planets by the practice of Bhakti Yoga only. The other two are incompetent in helping one reach the Vaikuntha lokas, although they can, however, conveniently take one to the effulgent Brahmajyoti as described above. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So far what we have seen is how Shukdev Goswami is answering the questions of Parikshit Maharaj as to what is the path of perfection for all people in general, and what is the path of perfection for someone who is about to die. Sukadeva Goswami, in his answer, he responds, Etavan Sankhya Yogabhyam Swadharma Pari Nishtaya Janma Labha Parapumsam Ante Narayana Smriti. So he says that the ultimate perfection for a living being who is about to die is Ante Narayana Smriti, to remember Lord Narayan at the end of one's life. And then he further goes on to explain about how, in what forms one can remember Lord Narayan. The first, then he explains about how Lord Narayan can be remembered in his Virata Roop. And then in these specific sections of this chapter, he is explaining how one can remember Lord Narayan in the Paramatma form. And in this specific purport, Srila Prabhupada explains about how these concepts of impersonalists who worship the Lord in the Virata Roop and the Paramatma form, and the devotees who worship the Lord in the Bhagavan form. Now someone may question that the Srimad Bhagavatam is considered to be the topmost literature, and Dharma Prochita Kaitava Atra means it is supposed to actually eradicate all Kaitava Dharma, all sorts of bogus religion. Then why there is so much discussion about these various forms of Virata Roop and Paramatma form? Why there is directly no mention of the Bhagavan form or the path of bhakti? So to answer this question, if we carefully look at the Srimad Bhagavatam, how the topics are discussed, we find that the audience assembled in front of Shukadeva Goswami was not only Parikshit Maharaj, who was a pure devotee, but there were so many sages, philosophers, rishis, yogis, and people performing multiple paths to perfection. And hence Shukadeva Goswami was addressing the questions or the concerns of everyone assembled there. And hence we find that there is explanation of multiple topics before we go to the final topic of pure unalloyed devotional service. In fact, we can look at specific reasons. Number one is, now we understand that the Srimad Bhagavatam is meant only for the Paramahamsas. That is what the understanding is. Now someone may question that if that is true, then what about the conditioned souls? Paramo nirmatsaranam satam, which means it is for the highest transcendents who are free from any envy, nirmatsaranam. So that is true. It is for the Paramahamsas. It is a Paramahamsa Samhita. However, when Vyasadeva, when he wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam, his mood or his focus was also the conditioned souls. Anartho pasamam sakshat bhakti yogam adhokshaje lokasya janato vidvams chakre satvata samhita. So the Bhagavatam itself says that in the first canto itself, that Vyasadeva wrote this Srimad Bhagavatam, compiled this for anartho pasamam sakshat, for the conditioned souls who are full of anarthas, anartho pasamam, that how a conditioned living entity can actually get over the stage of conditioning of the anarthas, and how that conditioned soul can get bhakti yogam adhokshaje, how he or she can engage in the bhakti yoga of Lord Adhokshaja. So the audience is both, there are two different audiences. One is the Paramahamsas who can relish this Srimad Bhagavatam at every point, they are relishing it. And the conditioned souls who are taking it as a medicine and curing of the disease of anartha. An example is given, right? Sugarcane juice. A person who is sick of jaundice, he is advised to take sugarcane juice. So for him, it is a medicine, that take it so that you can cure your disease. But someone who is healthy, for him it's a luxury. Oh my God, I have sugarcane juice, let me enjoy it. So it is the same object or the same thing, but for one who is conditioned, it is acting as a medicine. And for the one who is pure, it is acting as enjoyment, relishing. So we find that how this way Srimad Bhagavatam is for both the conditioned souls and also for the Paramahamsas. The second reason why Shukadeva Goswami is discussing all these topics is that there are different people with different propensities and different qualifications. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami explains as to what is the qualification for bhakti, or what can be the disqualification for bhakti. So he says that nira matrasya adhikarta. So he says that just being a human being, nira matrasya, just because you are a human being, that itself is a qualification that one can become the adhikari of the path of bhakti. However, we find that not everyone who is a human being actually takes to bhakti. And why is that? Again, he actually quotes from the 11th canto, where Lord Krishna is telling Uddhava, Yadra chaya mat kathadau jata shraddhastu yah puman na nirvinno nati sakto bhakti yogasya siddhida. That a person actually gets attraction for bhakti only when he or she hears mat kathadau, yadra chaya mat kathadau, when he hears my katha in the association of devotees, then only jata shraddha. So the shraddha, so even though every human being is qualified to attain bhakti, but because there are other impediments, there are anarthas, until one gets the association of devotees and in that sangha one engages in harikatha, the shraddha does not develop. So we find that there are people of different propensities and they do not come to the stage of bhakti unless they are fortunate enough to develop the Shraddha by engaging in Harikatha in the Sangha of devotees. And also further, Lord Krishna says that what should a person do who is not developed a Shraddha so far? Tavat karmani kurvita na nirvidyeta yavata mat katha sarvanadoya shraddha yavanna jayate. The Lord advises that when a person has attachment to other paths, let's say a person is attached to Varnashram Dharma, then that person should not immediately give up, because since he is getting shelter there, so prematurely a person may jump to bhakti, but if he may find that it is unsustainable because there is no support system to support him in bhakti. And hence it is a gradual process that yes, if you have Shraddha in Varnashram, then do your duties perfectly. At the same time, engage in the association of devotees and gradually go to the stage of pure bhakti. And hence actually the 7th canto discusses so much about the Varnashram system, about how householder life, about so many systems, so many paths are discussed, so that even these people who have attraction for Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Dhyana Yoga, they also have something to hear to Srimad Bhagavatam, and once they find their concerns addressed, then they can go to the next stage of bhakti. So Shukadeva Goswami is not doing like a dogmatic presentation that bhakti is the best because I am saying so. He actually is addressing all the areas or all the paths that people have propensities or people have qualifications, so that those people who are following these paths of Varnashram, Dhyan or Gyan, they can also feel attracted, and after understanding their process, they will be able to accept or appreciate that how the path of unalloyed pure devotion service is the highest after comparing all the other paths. So that's why Shukadeva Goswami is explaining all the paths before he comes to the point of pure bhakti. The third reason is that the 10 topics that Srimad Bhagavatam has, actually it is there in almost every Mahapurana. The 10 topics of creation, Atra Sarga Visargascha, Sthanam Poshanam Utayah, Manvantara Ishanu Katha, Nirodha Muktir Ashraya. So these 10 topics of Sarga, which is creation, Visarga, secondary creation, Sthana, the planetary systems, Poshana, which is the protection offered by the Lord, Utaya, the creative impetus, Manvantara, the change of the Manus, Ishanukatha, the glories of the Lord, Nirodha, which is liberation, then Mukti, and then finally Ashraya. Ashraya is final shelter. The Srimad Bhagavatam is presented in these krama or in this sequence so that the topic of Ashraya can be actually appreciated more. It's like going like step by step and then finally coming to the conclusion. Like for example, let's say if someone says, okay, where is let's say Venice Beach? So if Venice Beach is let's say south of here or east, where is Venice Beach? West? Okay, it's west of here. Now that doesn't mean that you can directly go west and hit there. You may have to go through, maybe go a little east, west, south. You may have to go, as the road takes. You have to follow the road and ultimately go to your destination. So the overall direction is west, but one has to actually follow the road so that one can go to the destination. Similarly, the ultimate goal is bhakti, but one cannot jump to bhakti directly unless one is really qualified. And sometimes the qualifications comes through actually following the processes and under the guidance of a perfect guru or a perfect guide. Again, for the same example, if someone knows how to go from here to Venice Beach, it's easy. Okay, go straight, then go right, go left, go north, south. And then someone may think, oh, I'm supposed to go west. Why am I going north or south? Well, to eventually end to that point, the road actually has north and south also, and then ultimately you'll go to the final destination. Similarly, one may find that the descriptions of other paths are given so that one can understand, appreciate, and dismiss, and then have full faith in the process of bhakti that yes, we have scrutinizingly understood all the paths and now we can conclude that bhakti is the highest. The next reason is about purification. Srila Prabhupada actually clearly says that there are so many sahajiyas who would like to jump to the 10th canto, the Rasa Leela pastimes of Lord Krishna. However, unless one is pure enough, one cannot actually understand these pastimes, and hence going through the other process helps as purification so that one develops the right qualifications to understand pure devotional service. And the final reason is about that these actually paths or these initial understandings are also like prerequisites. It's like you need to understand this so that you can so that you can actually relish the highest stage. So this way, we find that actually in the 5th canto, the first few cantos from 2nd through 5th, they speak about Srishti Leela, about creation and the secondary creation and the planetary systems. So at the end of the 5th canto, in the last chapter, the 38th verse, Sukadeva Goswami says that one must actually carefully read these topics of creation, of the Srishti Leela. Now actually if you read, sometimes it may feel a little overwhelming that there is so much detail given about about the Mahat Purusha, the Mahat Tattva, and about so much of the material nature. And sometimes you may find it's kind of a little, it may like kind of dismissing it. Okay, let me directly go to the place where there are pastimes. But again, Srimad Bhagavatam in the 5th canto, Sukadeva Goswami says that one should actually carefully read this so that one's intelligence is completely confirmed and is resolute. And then you can actually understand the pastimes from the 6th canto onwards better once your 2nd through 5th canto is kind of the foundation is laid properly. So this way, we find that the topics of Jnana, impersonalism, and Ashtanga Yoga are explained here so that the final object of bhakti can be appreciated and relished better. In this specific verse, or in this specific sequence of verses, we find that the yogi is advised to actually perform Ashtanga Yoga. And the Ashtanga Yoga means the 8 limbs of this yoga system are Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. So in the previous verses, it was explained about how Yama, Niyama, and Asana, and Pranayama, and Pratyahar. In fact, in the first few verses of this chapter, up to the first 5 verses, Sukadeva Goswami explains that how a person should be detached, that you don't need anything to live, you should not have a luxurious life, one should not work hard for maintenance, one should be happy with whatever comes of its own accord, one should live like from the fruits of the tree, one should live using the clothes which is given away, rejected clothes, torn clothes. So basically he emphasizes the fact of that how one should be detached. And when one comes to that stage of purification, only at that stage one has the qualification to be able to go to the stage of dharana, mano dharanaya. Mano dharanaya means being able to see the Lord in your heart. The Lord actually is present in the heart of the yogi because of the stage of purification that the yogi develops, that is detached from these worldly things, worldly objects. And in the next verses, Sukadeva explains about from dharana to dhyana. Dharana refers to a general concentration of the Lord's form, and dhyana refers to the meditation on each specific limb. So in the verses before this verse, we saw about how the yogi is meditating on each specific limb. Padam, padam, shuddhaya dhiya. So by meditating on each limb, the yogi is actually going through further purification. He is already purified to be able to see the Lord in his heart. But when he meditates on the Lord's individual limbs, there is even further purification, and this additional purification qualifies him or her to be able to go to the stage of samadhi or absorption. And in that stage, as we see in these verses, the effect of time is not there. The effect of the demigods is not there. And then here in this proposal, Prabhupada explains that how everyone is under the influence of time, even including Brahma. I remember, as we grew up, as regular persons in India, we used to, our understanding was that everybody, all the gods are the same. So that was the typical understanding, and hence, you'll typically find in everyone's home the picture of all devatas, devis, and including Vishnu, Lord Shiva, and Surya Devata, and so on. The first understanding that we get after reading Prabhupada's books is that, oh, even Brahma has a lifespan. Even Brahma ultimately dies. So that was kind of the first eye-opener. And hence we understand here that these devatas who control the lives of human beings who are under the influence of karma, even these devatas are also under the influence of kala. So that is kind of a revealing fact to most people who are worshipping demigods. Oh, I have been worshipping this demigod thinking that he was supreme, but now I understand that even this demigod is under the influence of supreme kala. So understand that kala is supreme. And again, Mr. Prabhupada in his purport mentions about satanic influence, about Shani. There is a small anecdote about, there was one person once who went to one astrologer and he asked that, please see my horoscope chart and give me some advice on what is going on in my life, how I can be protected. Then the astrologer says, okay, to find out Shani's influence, you need to pay me at least $100. Give me $100. He says, I don't have so much money. He says, okay, at least give me $50. I can give you 50% discount. Give me 50. He says, I don't have even 50. He says, okay, I don't know. But today you're my first customer. At least give me 10 so that I can find out the Shani's influence for you. He says, I don't have even 10. He says, what? I have given the maximum discount I can give. At least give me $1. He says, I don't even have $1. He says, if you don't have $1, Shani can't do anything for you. So if there is no money, there is no effect of Shani. So that we find that unless that only pure devotion service is eligible, that we find that everyone can be eligible. Whereas for all others, they are always worried about the influence of Shani and other demigods, how it can impact their life. So this way, only through the path of bhakti, one can actually get rid of the influence of kala, of the demigods, and also of the three modes of material nature, as we see in this verse. Na sattva, na rajas, na tamascha. Sattva guna, rajaguna, and tamaguna, you can actually, through path of the practice of bhakti, one can overcome the influence of even the modes. Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraiguna Bhava Arjuna. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna that only through the path of bhakti you can actually get over the modes which are the predominant points of discussion of the Vedas. So this way we find this sequence of understanding of the multiple topics of Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga, and how even Ashtanga Yogi, here in these verses explained here, is pure enough to be able to hold the Lord in his heart, in dharana and dhyan, and ultimately his perfection. But if the yogi is fortunate enough, he gets association of devotees and is able to take to bhakti yoga, and we will see that in the next verses how Sukadeva Goswami will actually bring up the supremacy of bhakti over these previous other paths, which are also path of perfection, but they don't have the ananda or the bliss factor which only the path of bhakti has. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Is there any questions or any comments? Yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for,
Thank you.
as always, nice class. Um, so you explained the justification why Shukadev Goswami goes through different processes because he has different audiences. Can you relate that activity to our preaching activity here in the West? People
Yeah.
coming from different walks of life, some like in the mode of goodness or ignorance or the whole range. How should we like
Right.
shine some light into
Right. Thank you, Prabhu. That's a good question. So about how we actually should preach by taking into account the background of the person who is subject of the preaching. And so we find that in the Western world, especially, people have attraction towards having a healthy life, about improving their lifestyle through yoga, and so hence that could be one of the I would say the hooks to be able to get them to bhakti, that how one can have a healthy and pure life by the practice of bhakti, by the regulations and the stages of the meditation. And actually it's being done. If you see, there are I know about the mantra uh, the mantra house preaching here. They're you know Hari Bhakta Prabhu and the group that are doing this preaching here, they're able to you know give about mantra meditation. And so these are the kind of I would say uh, methods we have to be able to attract people, that bring up yoga as a topic of discussion, bring up karma as a part of discussion. So even though these are not the highest goal of the scriptures, but these are nice I would say hooks to be able to get people attracted by talking about karma and yoga, giving them a book which talks about that, and then them appreciate the lifestyle of a devotee and how there is so much of bliss in that. So, and also giving prasad. Prasad is the best part. That giving them nice prasad, because everybody likes prasad, whether it is from Western world or Eastern world. And hence, through the topics as well as giving prasad, one can be able to reach these people and satisfy them.
it? Like how about book distribution? I sometimes I see people, hey, this is person a good in the mode of goodness, more or less. Which book should I give it to him? Should I be choosing or should like approach Srila Prabhupada books on the same platform? It's like what how should I be discerning in that aspect?
Yeah, so actually, if you can reflect on if in our own lives also, I look at my own life. I read multiple books, but the book that changed my life was the book called Life Comes from Life. I had a lot of scientific bias in my life. I believed a lot in material science because that was my whole background in education. So I read the book Beyond Birth and Death, then On the Way to Krishna. It was kind of on helping. But when I read the book The Life Comes from Life, it had a very clear understanding of how one's faith in material science can be disturbed, can be destroyed. That life is the source of life. It's not matter. So this we find that understanding the background of each person. That person is scientific background, then give them scientific books. If person has like a background in yoga, then give them maybe perfection of yoga. Or if person has background about something like music, some other somebody wants food, we can give some books on like say the higher taste. So I would say that each book has a different audience. So when we read the books, we can identify okay which book has kind of some key topics, and then actually show them specifically okay look at this topic, this may be relevant to you and applicable to you. So I would agree, yeah, definitely one should actually use these books, even though all books are the same level spiritually, but one topic may appeal to a different a person on a different scale. So definitely we must use our judgment to do that, make it more effective. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank
Yeah, something around on the same lines. How you mentioned how different things that are mentioned in the Bhagavatam are for like different audiences, like there's different people that gather around Sukadeva Goswami. So I'm just wondering, is that like your understanding, or is it something that the previous acharyas also mentioned?
you. Oh, this is actually from Bhagavatam itself. From the Bhagavatam comment, from Srila Prabhupada's purports, as well as from other sources I have heard from. So what I explained was sources was Prabhupada's purports as well as from other lectures of other devotees of ISKCON.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very good class. I just wanted to make sure that I understood what you were saying. Obviously, Sukadev Goswami had a diverse audience that was sitting. But also, from my understanding on reading Srila Prabhupada's books and purports, is Guru Kripa Bhai Bhakti Lata Bej, that a devotee does not need to go through these various processes if he takes shelter of a bona fide spiritual master.
Right, right.
Can you elaborate on that? Because I think that is very critical, because I know what you said is also very important, but at the same time, we need to also emphasize the point that when we take shelter of Srila Prabhupada and his books, then we don't have to go through these processes. We can actually go into the devotional marg much quicker.
Right, right. So that is true that once we take Srila Prabhupada, then there is no need for other process. But this was for them who have not been fortunate enough to meet devotees or take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. For them, this is required so that they can see that yes, my path is also discussed and dismissed, and then I can come to bhakti. But all of us have probably been in that stage before we came here, and hence we are already here. So if we want to reflect on our own past, we had different types of, different stages of faith, and by some mercy we got devotees association and we are here. But others who are not there yet, they have to see that okay, this presentation is not just dogmatic, but it is scientific and it is all inclusive, and there is a reason why bhakti is considered to be highest. So yes, true, for us we don't need to go through all that, but for others who are not ready yet, we should let them go through, because if they are not ready for bhakti, they should be having some other shelter, some other ashraya. It can't be that they are caught in between. Like for example, let's say if you are preaching to a family member, a friend who is not ready for bhakti, we don't tell them that, give up what we are doing right now and come to bhakti. He may say that he's just trying to push his ideas upon me. So we let them experience, but parallelly give them association of devotees so that they can see for themselves and compare the path that they are following and the path that we are advocating. The idea is to basically gain acceptance and not have outright rejection on the pretext that somebody is imposing upon me. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, thank you for this wonderful lecture, and I'm just wanting to know, like, who is your guru? Who's your teacher? Like, how were you able to obtain it? You were talking about sick man and the sweet drink, and you have to go to a doctor to get that prescription. But if I'm sick, like, I'm going to go to any doctor. Like, I'm lucky that Prabhupada was here, and I'm able to get some of his remnants of his teachings, but I really want somebody tangible. Like, what do I do? Do I chain him up and say, be my guru? Like, I'm going to keep you in my room for forever. Like, please just teach me. Like, how do I come about, like, once a guru comes through here, what do I do?
Well, you are in the right place already. And even though Srila Prabhupada has left this mortal world, but his books and his disciples are there to guide us. And there are so many disciples of his who are actually accepting further disciples on behalf of Srila Prabhupada. Like for example, I have taken shelter of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. So hence we find that there are so many Maharajas here, sannyasis, who are disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and even Grahastha disciples of Srila Prabhupada, who are acting as bona fide gurus and helping every living entity to connect to Srila Prabhupada and to Krishna eventually. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Srimad Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Anyway, within 3 months, then one day Kirtananda said, we're going to go down and you're going to take down and meet the Swami and be initiated. Pradyumna in the meantime had come there, and Jyotirani was painting from morning till night. And Shivananda joined. Sam Greer was his name. He had a green Volkswagen bus. And so we, of course, imposed on that, lend us the bus, we're going to go to... And he was very attached to his bus. He said, please, you got to bring it. Oh, no, don't worry. Of course, the bus blew up on the way back. But so we drive to New York in this bus. On the way down, we stop at my mother's place. She lives near Brewster, New York, upstate New York, about an hour out of New York City. And we're all shaved up, Dodi, and the whole works. And I won't sit on a chair. I got to sit on the floor. Can't, I got to cook it. But my mother was happy because my mother is religiously inclined, spiritually inclined. She was quite happy, but it was pretty intense. Kirtananda, Pradyumna, myself, Himavati, we're all in this new garb. Then we go on, and when I came to 26 Second Avenue, and Kirtananda took us upstairs to where Prabhupada had that little apartment, as soon as the door opened and I saw Prabhupada, he said, oh, you've come. Like we'd known each other always. And my immediate reaction was my entire muscular system just melted away. And I just sank down to the ground. It just felt like melting. I just bowed down, which was taught to us by Kirtananda, that's what you do. And my muscles in my face began to twitch, and in my arms. And I finally got myself seated against the wall, and I was looking at Prabhupada, and he was just shining. And I thought, well, it's because I'm nervous and my eye, I'm just staring. So I started to blink my eyes, but it wasn't my eyes. Prabhupada was actually a golden effulgence. I mean, his complexion was golden, and there was actual effulgence streaming out from him. And he began to speak about how the karmis like all bitter things, and the devotees are having all these sweet things, and he went on and on like that. So that was my very first encounter with Prabhupada. And the initiation, which I explained earlier in the temple, was kind of funny because we of course knew that when you get initiated you get another name. And my karmi name was Hans, H-A-N-S, and my last name was Kary, K-A-R-Y. Of course I had a middle name which was also, and I never liked my name because I was an immigrant. So you want to, ever since childhood I wanted to be part of be integrated into this social environment of my peers. So this name Hans, and my middle name was Jürgen, and the last name was Kary. So I was really anticipating getting a very exotic new name, like Hanuman or Hari Das or something. So but when it came time for me to receive my beads, as I bowed down, and then Prabhupada said, your name is Hansaduta. And I didn't quite catch it. I said, what was that? He said, simply add Duta. And I got real disappointed. I thought, oh. So not only was the name still the same, it just had a suffix, Duta, but my last name also remained the same because it got a prefix, Adi, Kari. So Hansaduta Das Adhikari, I'm thinking, well, gee, I was really disappointed. And then after the initiation, when